debate by the citizens and the elected representatives. A key component of government accountability is passing an annual financial audit. Officer Elliott just earlier said, lock your cars, right? Officer Elliott can also put on a siren and he can stop you, right? And then he just can't stop you like that. But the thing is, everything is tied to some laws out there. There's a reason why he stops you, because there's somewhere in the Constitution that says that, hey, either unreasonable sources are protected or something like that. So it comes from Constitution. Similarly, for us, for the town of Indian Head, we have a charter that we need to follow. And the authority to do this comes from the state laws. So the state law, why do we do this audit? Because we pay so much money to the auditors to do it, but we are mandated by the law. And that is why we need to do the audit. So we follow the audit that says there are in all of Maryland, we have 24 counties, 153 cities, towns, and 14 taxing districts. And then, because of the local government article, section 16306 of the Annotated Code of Maryland requires each county, incorporated city or town and taxing authority to file an annual once, and some of them maybe once every 4 years, but in our case, it's once every year under specified condition of the audit, right? So we do this audit, but people say, what is this audit? Is this something that we all know about, or is this something very difficult? But like everything else, you have rules when you go to play football or baseball or even wrestling that our mayor loves wrestling, right, Mayor? Mr. Paulin, yeah, he's a wrestler. There are rules. You just can't go and knock off anybody out there, you know? So we go there with a certain set of rules. And in accounting, those rules are called generally accepted accounting principles, okay? Generally accepted accounting practices. That's what it's called, GAAP. So that's what the accountants follow. You know, you can say, some of them say, okay, because the reason why we need to follow that is we may buy a cherry truck or a cherry pickup truck or something, a dumpster truck or something. You can say, hey, this dumpster truck can last us like 50 years. Somebody can go, no, it's not going to last us 50 years. There's a limit to how long we can use. We need to depreciate those values, right? We follow those principles. There's a reason why, hey, town of Indian Head, we go and we put all of our money in the bank. But do you know that all of our money in the bank needs to be protected all the time? There's a rule for that, because they have set up certain set of guidelines that have been given to us. So that is why the GAAP, the financial statement that we follow from here, or the town of La Plata does, the accountants follow the same accounting principles. That's called the GAAP. So who selects these procedures? So it's the independent audit, and then when they start doing the audit, who does that? Can we as a town, we can go and say, hey, we want you to do this, 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 and this? No, we can't do that, because they are called independent auditors. You know, they have to make up their own. Yes, we pay them a hefty amount of money, but we can't do anything the way they're going to do it. Sometimes they might say, hey, Ginger, give me all the check register. Give me a list of all of that you wrote over $500. Or give me all the money that the town wrote for a check. We want to see a copy of the check that's from $1,000 to $5,000. You know, they can. And then we have no choice but to provide that. And then they use some statistical techniques saying, hey, if in this population there's like 1% that is being unaccounted for, how much does it impact the entire town? So based on all these kinds of different criteria, they go and they look at our documents, they look at every invoices, whatever they want to do, because we have no control over that. They make us, we make them happy. And then the accounting department has done an excellent job. Not only that, before we used to send them in papers, now we have started to archive digitally. Now they can actually go, because we put everything is put in our Dropbox. Now we save those documents. The auditors can actually look immediately into electronic format. That's what they do. And then opinion. Now, once they do all this, they spend like maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know, probably about a month, and then they come up with the opinion in the end. So when you go to the next, can you go to the next place, please? Yeah. So if you look at, that's good. So right here on top, there's an unqualified opinion. So this is, when people say, oh, you guys are unqualified, no, that's not how it works in accounting world. Unqualified means that is the best opinion that a town can get. Means things, the way when we looked at it, it all looks good. So never get confused. When the town says town decision, this is what we all strive to. Every town strives to get an unqualified opinion. Means there is no further qualification saying such as, hey, this is good, except. When those words start coming, then they start qualifying. So then we start going to the next one. So after unqualified right here, so then there's the other layer is the qualified. And worse than qualified, you get like disclaimer, and you can get adverse opinion also. So adverse opinion, so the best is unqualified, the worst is adverse opinion out there. And what does adverse mean? It means adverse means there are some towns out there that have no clue how they are operating or where their money is or who is writing. Just if it reaches to that point where the auditors can't make a head or tail out of things, and they don't want to be sure, they said, there's something that I can't express, and it is adverse. And there are some towns that have received, even in Maryland, that have received those adverse opinions. So like I said, I think there's I might have given an example before. There are some 5 towns that have received some of those, either one of those opinions. So that's what that. So moving to the next, who uses these reports? So who uses this report means it's all of us who use that. Mostly, the first person that used that report is we, as from the town council and the town's finance department. We look at those reports saying whether we got to qualify, whether we're doing a right way or not, and we look at. The other thing, if we want to borrow money, and if we say, hey, we need to have our own police patrol cars, and for each of them cost like $60,000, and we want to get 5 of them, you know. And then it's $300,000. If we need to we don't have that money, then we need to go outside, and maybe sometimes we need to borrow money. So the bankers are going to look at it. Sometimes back we borrowed like $1 million and something to fix our for the well, and either to fix a well or come dig a new well or something like that. So to increase the water quality, the access to the water for the town residents. And those things are those things from what we call bonds. Bonds are issued, you know. Those people are going to take a look at it. So a lot of things, and most importantly, the officials, the state officials, because they are also mandated to look at it. After we get done with our audit, we send our audit report to the state, and there is actually a legislative department that looks at these audit reports, and they actually come up with this thing. So when you look at it here, it says as of July 31st, 5 towns had not submitted their audit report for 2013 or 15. So the names of the town, they actually list that: town of Deer Park, city of Glendale, city of Hyattville, town of Marydale, and town of Morningside. They have not submitted. What does that mean when we don't submit our audit report? That means if there's a state grant that we're supposed to qualify, they can actually block those grants. We may not be eligible for those grants, so we'll have to do that. So that's the source. When you go to the next place, please. Yeah. So if you keep scrolling down. So this is something that a little bit down, up. Yeah. So here. So this is actually a cut and paste from the actual report that the state said. So sometimes in 2012, in June of 2012, they listed one of the violators of not fully collateralized or otherwise insured. They listed town of Indian Head. They said we had $162,000, 174, that amount of money. They're saying that was not collateral. What that means is, hey, if we have, let's say, as you know, all of your banks, when you go to the bank, your money is insured up to $250,000, right? No matter what happens, if the PNC Bank down here, it burns, or if the earthquake happens and the whole thing disappears, no matter what, you still get your $250,000. That's the federal government has guaranteed that. But if there's money more than that, let's say there's a $300,000. I mean, Jinda just read a report saying we have cash and cash equivalent of certain amount. But anything above that, we don't want the town to lose any of that happen. So what we collateralize that amount of money. So in the event that if anything were to happen, or the bank were to get lost, we still are insured, we still are protected that we're going to get that amount of money. But in this case, even though they listed our town of Indian Head in this category, in 2012, I can assure you, and after having conversation, we are notified that the bank actually had insured our money. So this particular report, they should have updated that, because they had already issued that. They hadn't updated that on the website. But frankly, I think we're doing an awesome job in terms of making sure that we are following that particular policy. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, so where are we? Where are we in terms of as of June 30, 2015? So I'm just giving you a high-level picture right here. So we have something called current and other assets. So we have 2.7 million right here in current assets. So we have capital asset that's called $18 million right here, okay? And there's a liability of 245,000. We're supposed to pay liability, something that we owe to somebody, and we have a long-term debt of $1.8 million. So we're going to go more details into that, but when you see, so the important thing is right here, the town assets, every town needs to make sure that their assets are more than their liabilities. Same thing for you, even in your family. When you budget it, you need to make sure that you are earning more, you're saving more than what is going out of the door. You know, that is what the prudence dictates. So in our case, like here, so we have, so where is the town? Can you scroll up? Yeah, okay. Down, up. Altala. Go down. More, please. There's some more. Yep, okay. I'll go back. Yeah. So here, so the town's assets exceed liability at the close of fiscal year by 19 million. So our liability, we exceed more 19 million. But we should not all be extremely happy about it. What that means is, hey, yes, we know we have there, you know, our liability, and when you compare to the asset, it exceeds by 19 million. But we need to know what is making that money, what constitutes that amount. Is this the amount that we can actually use and start making buildings or investment firms are out there in that town? No, you know. Some of them, can you scroll a little bit up, Navin? So if you see here, restricted 585, unrestricted is $1.8 million, and we'll talk more about it. So they also, the auditors also write a report. When you read one of these reports, it will tell you what we did and how we did. Scroll. No. Okay. So we have what we call parks. So there's two ways to look at how we do. There's a governmental activities that we do, and there's a business type of activities that we do. Here, under government, parks and general funds is one category. Then we do water, sewer, and trash. That's separate. That's what we do. And charge for services. We charge for certain services. That's in 2015 we received $92,000. Then general revenues, we get money from the taxes, 1.03 million right here. Then for business type related activities, we got 1.8 million. So move on. Yeah. So in 2015, how did we do when you look at the pie chart? So Town of Indiana government activities expense right here. So parks and recreations, almost $252,000. So public works, that's where you spend money, $321,000. That's 22% of our budget. General government work, which is constitutes 45%, is $653,000. Public safety, we spend $117,000 because that's money comes in, but money also has to go out. So that's for especially only for the governmental activities right here. And again, when you look at it, this is the expense category. How we break down 2014 versus 2015, where we increased, where we decreased. So these are the details right here for the general activities and business type activities. And then, so we also have something called long-term debt. You know, so long-term debt. This is usually. So there are three different. Our town has three different kinds of bonds that have been issued that we have purchased our town in the past. So there's a $584,000 we had borrowed at one point which is due. We have to pay by 2019. There's a $66,000 which is due in 2027, and there's a $3.6 million that we had borrowed that is going to be due by 2000. But it's not going to be due at one point. We are paying every 6 months. We have to set aside money to pay for these things. And these are all the money that we had used either for one form or the other, either to upgrade our infrastructure, either to upgrade our sewer or the water infrastructure, or some of those lines. So that's what we had used those long-term debts, and we need to keep paying that. And it shows like we have, even out of the total money we still have, now we're going to be showing 1.8 million is something that we do. So retirement for town employees, you know. So we also have like the things that we need to contribute in a 401k plan in the amount of 26,896 for the 16 employees, and they also contribute a portion of that money. So that's what I do. In this particular, it just was expense, charge for services, public safety, how much we charge, but what was the actual expense, you know, and then where the money, and then public safety, public works, community affairs, same thing. What was the expense right here? So this is what we use what I used to make that pie chart earlier. So scroll a little. Yeah. So yeah, again like here. So for the statement of net position, this is for the governmental activities, business activities, So again, cash and cash equivalent that we talked about. Yeah, we have got for combined as of 2000, as of June 30 last year, we had 1.3 million, right? And out of that, 102 is restricted cash, And we have also some service fees, that 1.06 million. Capital assets. So of that, the town of Indian Head, we own a land. The town owns a land worth about $1.5 million. That's it. So we own properties here. Construction in progress. There are some activities that our town manager is heavily involved in. As you saw last year, I mean, there was some stuff that was done right behind the Village Inn Pavilion in the bicycle, where the bicycle rack areas is. Those parking areas were made. So those are some of the construction progress activities that we do. So there's also some money there. Construction. So but the other look at this amount. Look at this $14 million. See? So other capital assets net of depreciation. This is big, $14.6 million. This is big thing for us. The total amount 16. Of the entire money, remember that earlier I said like that we had like close to $19 million. 16 million of that is already tied to our other capital assets. That means the town owns, like this building is already built. We have other buildings that the town owns. There are our facilities, the sewer facility, the water pipes, all the thing about the water system, So those are our assets. Those are that the town owns. Those assets are already tied up. And some of those assets are getting so fully depreciated. We have trucks that are 8 or 10 years old that we continue to use. And we need to be starting saving money for those. But when those assets are all tied up here, that means we have less money for other stuff because this has already been invested money, right? And again, earlier I said there's a long-term liabilities that are due within a year and that are due in more than 1 year. That's how it needs to be presented according to the position, according to GAAP. That's what we do. Move on. Yeah. And again, so this is the same thing, statement of revenue, expenditure, and change the fund balance, So where do we get it? So taxes, So this is the personal property tax, the personal income tax, but the personal property tax, the real estate tax that you pay, License and permits. When you apply for permit for the town, that's what the money that we generate. And then charges for services. Something, if you want to rent this hall, we charge for this hall too, or you want to rent some parks or something, the town charges. We also charge, so those are charges for services that we provide, And then the other miscellaneous. And then where does the expenditure go? So again, general government, public, parks, recreation. We discussed that earlier. Move on, please. Next. So these are basically how, again, different kind of funds, proprietary funds, how much the cash is restricted, service fees. Basically, they say the front footage. I have no idea what this front footage fees is actually. And then capital assets, we discussed that earlier. Scroll. Yeah. And then in here, in the proprietary funds, I just want to see, So how much money that for this particular proprietary fund? How much we allocate? Salaries, the salaries 302,000. These are for the. There's so much depreciation going. If you look at this, this is a key number. There's 800, almost close to $1 million in depreciation that we go through every year because of all of our trucks and everything, all the resources that we continue to use. Professional fees out here, $354,000. Big money out there that we need, and that combines all of our very many things, legal fees. We pay our other services, like we use, let's say if we're going to be making a boardwalk, then we need to be paying for those engineers and things like that to come and do all that mapping. Every year we spend a lot of money in there too, for recycling, for insurance. We need to insure all of our stuff, and that's what we do. So then there's other non-rental income that we do, probably provide rent some of the facilities here in town. Move on. So where should we be headed? That's the thing. So this is what we are. We don't have unlimited amount of money, and we have only fixed resource pool that we have to deal with. And then personally we are extremely lucky to have a very dedicated staff in our town, and they make sure that even with the limited budget, they work very hard, and we are very appreciative of everybody who works as a staff in our town. They have given their 110%. I personally believe that. And you saw the work during the snow days also, how fast they came along, they removed, and then everything was cleared up, and thanks to them, you know. And then are we the best in everything? There's always opportunity for improvement for a town like us. I mean, there are things as an elected representative, we have a fiduciary duty to make sure that we are planning it right, and that's what we do in the budget season. All of us get together and we try to say, hey, where can we make those cuts? How can we give more benefit to the staff? Or how can we make the additional funds available for parks and recs for people? How can we make sure all those dilapidated buildings are crushed? As you saw, a couple of the buildings near the gates went down, you know, and then we try to get them, because we may not have money, but then we need to seek out to the state grant. We need to have a partnership with somebody else. And we also hope that somebody down the road from this room, I hope as a part of the state, you put the town too, because town needs the money too, and we can help more residents. And then we are always open to suggestions. We really love our residents, and if there's anything that needs to be done, or if there is anything that you don't understand, how we can help, we are always more than happy to explain that. This copy will always be yours for any year that you need. We are available. It's open, and that what makes our democracy stronger than any other democracy in any other part of the world, because the foundation from our township, from the county, we are very strong. We do our best. We try to do our best due diligence, and we try to deliver the best value to our town residents. So now I'd like to open the floor for any question and answer that you may have. Thank you. Any questions from anybody? If not, then you can always ask me later on afterwards, and then we'll continue with the rest of our meeting, and then I'm always available. So again, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A resolution appointing a member and establishing her term of office to the Indian Head Environmental Sustainability Committee. Whereas the following individual has expressed a desire to serve as a member of the Town of Indian Head Environmental Sustainability Committee, and whereas Chapter 8, Article 5, Section 8-11 of the Code of the Town of Indian Head empowers the Town Council of Indian Head to make appointments to the Indian Head Environmental Sustainability Committee, and now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Town Council of Indian Head that the following individual is hereby appointed to the Indian Head Environmental Sustainability Committee for a 3-year term of office commencing immediately and expiring on the date below. Lauren Taylor, expiration March 2019. Be it further resolved that all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith being the same are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption on the 7th day of March 2016.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that we adopt this resolution.
I second that.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? All right, the ayes have it. All right, moving on to ordinances. We have 2 ordinances. Annie, if you would like to read the first one.
Sure. Ordinance 03-01-16, introduced by Mayor and Council. Date introduced March 7th, 2016. Date adopted tentatively April 4th, 2016. Date effective tentatively April 25th, 2016. An ordinance concerning committee junior members for the purpose of providing for junior members of certain town boards, commissions, and committees, establishing qualifications and tenure for junior members, providing rights of junior members and matters generally related to creating a program of junior members of boards, commissions, and committees in the Town of Indian Head. The following Town of Indian Head boards, commissions, and committees are open to junior members: the Board of Supervisors of Elections, the Community Activities Committee, the Environmental Sustainability Committee, and the Parks and Recreation Committee. The provisions of this article supplement other provisions of this code that provide for the composition of each committee. Committee junior membership: the Town Council may appoint 1 junior member to each committee. As long as a junior member serves on a committee, the total number of membership increases by 1, and the junior member may be counted towards a quorum. A committee junior member may vote, except for the junior member on the Board of Supervisors of Elections. Except as otherwise provided by law, a junior member may participate in activities of the committee to the same extent as other committee members. The service of junior members, they must be a resident of the town, they must be a sophomore or junior, and less than 18 years of age. They serve for 1 year, and they're eligible for reappointment to successive terms. The town council may fill any vacancy, and the town council may remove a junior committee member with or without cause. Would you like me to read the next?
Do you want to just do this one first? Yep.
It's just introduction at this
Oh,
point.
okay, yeah.
Okay, the next ordinance for introduction is 03-02-16, introduced by mayor and council. Date introduced March 7th, 2016. Date adopted tentatively April 4th, 2016. Date effective tentatively April 25th, 2016. An ordinance concerning bereavement leave for the purpose of providing a system of bereavement leave for employees of the town of Indian Head. Bereavement leave provides paid time off to employees for absences related to the death of immediate family members, other town employees, and retirees of the town of Indian Head. An employee who wishes to take time off for bereavement leave must notify his or her supervisor immediately. Normally, the leave will be granted unless there are unusual business needs or staffing requirements. An employee with his or her supervisor's approval can use any available annual leave for additional time off necessary for bereavement purposes. The bereavement leave pay is calculated based on the employee's base pay rate. Bereavement leave is provided according to a schedule which says that employees are allowed up to 3 consecutive days of bereavement leave in the event of the death of employee's spouse, domestic partner, child, father, father-in-law, mother, mother-in-law, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, brother, sister, stepfather, stepmother, stepbrother, stepsister, stepson, or stepdaughter. To be eligible for paid bereavement leave, the employee generally must attend the funeral of the deceased relative to be eligible for bereavement leave. Employees are allowed 1 day of bereavement leave in the event of death of the employee's brother-in-law, sister-in-law, aunt, uncle, grandparent, grandchild, or spouse's grandparent. The employee generally must attend the funeral of the deceased relative to be eligible for bereavement leave. Employees are allowed up to 4 hours of bereavement leave to attend the funeral of another employee or town retiree.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions on our resolution or 2 ordinances that were for introduction? All right, seeing none, we'll continue to move on. We have no petitions, no unfinished business. However, we do have new business. The renaming of Town Street to Moose Lodge Way. Back in August, the town council got a letter and a petition from the Moose Lodge wanting to rename Town Street to Moose Lodge Way to help, spur growth and membership there. So I would like to make a motion to change Town Street to Moose Lodge Way.
I second that.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Oh, you're opposed? Yep. All right. The ayes have it, and it's looking like Town Street's going to be Moose Lodge Way. All right. Moving on to miscellaneous. Oop. All right, events, here you go. Here. All right, the next Indian Head Business Association will be Wednesday, March 9th. Business Association meeting will be Wednesday, March 9th at 8:30 a.m. at Dale Smokehouse. The next Parks and Recreation Committee meeting will be Wednesday, March 9th, 6:30 p.m. at the Village Green Pavilion. The next Environmental Sustainability Committee meeting will be Wednesday, March 9th at 7:30 p.m. at the Village Green Pavilion. The Community Activities Committee setup for the spring party will be Friday, March 11th at 2 p.m. So please come out and volunteer. Children's Spring Party and Easter Egg Hunt will be Sunday, March 13th from 2 to 4, $2 for all ages. The next Planning Commission meeting will be Wednesday, March 16th at 7 p.m. The next Town Council work session meeting will be Wednesday, March 23rd at 3:30 p.m. There will be a family fun night, Wednesday, March 23rd from 6 to 9 p.m. Town Hall, Community Affairs, and Public Works will be closed Friday, March 25th. No trash pickup, and the next town meeting will be Monday, April 4th at 7:30 p.m. at the Village Green Pavilion. All right. And I would like to, before I open it up for citizens' comments, I would like to thank Wee Bean Coffee and Michelle's Cakes for providing refreshments on the back table. And now I'll open it up for citizens' comments. If anyone has a comment, please go to the podium, state your name and address, and we'll be good to go. Oh, okay.
Mr. Mayor, I also want to recognize Navin Sitola. What he is trying to do today is to see if there is an opportunity for the town residents in future to see if we will be able to live telecast the meeting going forward. So today was he's trying to do a test run, and if this succeeds, and then if we down the road decide to, this way any elderly folks in town who may have difficulty trying to come here, or anybody who, for that matter, who may not be able to come here but would like to watch the proceedings from the town from the comfort of their home, they will be able to do that. They will be able to download an app, and they will be able to see all of our future meetings right from the comfort